Welcome back to the West Point Lake Update. On this segment, I'm here with Henry Jacobs. He's the outreach coordinator for the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper here in West Point Lake. Thank you for being on the show today, Henry.
Good to be here, Danielle.
So, do you mind giving us a little background information of the mission of the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper?
For sure. Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, we're a nonprofit. Our focus is the river and all the creeks, all the water flowing through our communities, wanting to protect it, to be good stewards. And we have been around 25 years. We started in 1994, so this year we're celebrating having been around, but we're looking forward to the next 25 years of river stewardship, educating people, doing water monitoring, and keeping our water clean.
Nice. So I know the Chattahoochee River is very large. So what kind of areas do you focus on here at West Point Lake?
Yeah, and right, the Chattahoochee River, I think over 400 miles, one of the bigger rivers, and over 5 million people depend on the river, whether for drinking water, for recreation, for business. And so here in what we call the Middle Chattahoochee region, so this is the area I work with along with some other staff, and we've got a floating classroom. We do water monitoring in this region, but it's also good to know, I think, that we have staff in an office in Atlanta, so we're covering the city, the metro area, and then we also have a third outreach office in Gainesville, Georgia, which covers the headwaters of the Chattahoochee. So there's a lot of
it's rather large
to cover,
right.
And we try to do as much as we can with a staff and with the support of our members, excuse me, people who donate to support our work.
Okay, so you said this is the Middle Chattahoochee area, correct? So what kind of work do you do here at West Point Lake?
Yeah, in the West Point Lake Floating Classroom, I hope if you're out on the lake, you might see it passing by with a group of students on it, community groups. It's a boat that can hold up to 40 people, and we love taking students out for field trips throughout the year. During the morning on weekdays, you'll see school groups leaving from Pine Road Park, going out, exploring the lake, doing some water tests, and we're trying to help people understand the lake, that it's our source of drinking water, that the lake is healthy these days, and we want it to stay that way. Yes.
So the floating classroom, or as I also refer to it as Miss Sally.
Yeah.
So I've seen it out there a few times. You know, I was working there yesterday on the lake yesterday. I saw it out there. So you're already, every day that you can bring people out there.
And I think I just like mentioning that in 4 years now that we've had the Miss Sally on West Point Lake, we've had over 15,000 people out on the water with us in a safe. We've got trained, licensed boat captains and instructors who know the wildlife and are able to answer questions that people might have. Is the lake healthy? What are some of the issues that still remain? So we like to think it's a resource. It's also just a way for people to get on the water and see the lake. Right.
Well, so in addition to Miss Sally, do you guys ever go into the classroom and in schools or anything?
And we'll go visit a school if they ask us, but I think we found that it's such a good thing to give kids an opportunity to get out of the classroom. For a lot of students, it's maybe their first time on a boat.
Right. Sometimes we don't realize that the people of LaGrange might not even know that much about West Point Lake. So I agree with you. I think taking the time to let kids get out of the classroom and on the lake is more beneficial than visiting in the classroom. So that's really neat. So what kind of is there age groups that you focus on for these classrooms?
And for one, we have a working relationship with the Troup County school system to serve every 6th grade student every year.
6th grade.
So going forward, once you get to 6th grade, you should be joining us out on the floating classroom, and we're able to do that with support from a number of partners, donors in the community that help us provide that opportunity for kids. And I know one thing, among others, that we talk about with students is the lake and the health of the lake. And I know that was one thing we were going to cover today was, people will see the news, especially recently.
Right.
And I feel like you see that there's trash, that there's algae
Right.
in the lake, and whether or not that's something to be concerned about.
Yes.
So I know we like to be able to talk to people, provide answers to their questions.
Yeah, that's actually been kind of hot in the news lately, toxic algae blooms. So I know we actually have not had any reports of that for West Point Lake. So so people don't need to really be too concerned about that here, right?
Correct. We, Riverkeeper, along with the state of Georgia and the state of Alabama, do monthly monitoring on West Point Lake to test algae.
Okay.
And we have no reason to be concerned. Results are healthy. But I think it's good that people are paying attention.
Yeah.
And they are asking questions. They want to know if it's safe. And so we can say that West Point Lake is safe. But if we want it to remain healthy, to remain a place to go swimming, to go boating, we need people keeping watch. And I would say with the algae, the reason why other places will have concern with algae is that you have a lot of runoff from our communities, whether it's from urban, rural parts, things that when it rains, they run off into our creeks. Our creeks flow to our rivers, into our lakes. And so that is when you get situations
where there's more nutrients in the water.
Nutrients in the water. So that's something that we monitor here on West Point Lake. And if you go back 30 years to the 80s, there was a concern at that time with algae and too many nutrients in the water. And I know in the 90s, local legislators helped pass a law that banned the use of phosphates in the metro Atlanta area. And that was something that helped make West Point Lake a lot cleaner.
Okay.
That, along with Riverkeeper's efforts to hold the city of Atlanta accountable for its sewage spills. And now we see that 99% of all sewage overflows in Atlanta have stopped for the last 10 years now. The river is getting a clean bill of health, and so is West Point Lake.
Okay, so what you're saying is the river and the lake is pretty much as clean as it's ever been. So people should definitely come out and enjoy the lake.
I think West Point Lake is 40 years old or a couple more at this point. Right, and I think that you can make the case that West Point Lake is the healthiest it's been. And to be open, to be positive in the lake is a good thing, but also right to recognize that you'll still see plastic, tennis balls floating on the surface. And I know that makes a lot of people concerned, angry. And so I know that's something Riverkeeper, we're actively hosting cleanups. We're excited to work with y'all this fall.
We do. We actually have a lake cleanup day planned for September 28th called National Public Lands Day. And we're trying to promote the event to the public. So if anyone's interested in volunteering for that with the Riverkeeper or with us, they can always reach out to our West Point Lake Facebook page, and I'm sure the Riverkeeper's Facebook page as well. So hopefully we get a lot of feedback for that, and it's really successful this year.
I hope everybody who wants to volunteer for an hour, 2 hours on a Saturday morning, fall, to be out by the lake to help make the lake cleaner. I know we're excited to work with y'all, and we're glad y'all are organizing it. It's something that's needed because we do hear a lot that there is trash, and it's something, right? I know we kind of talked about beforehand, but where is the trash coming from? And some of it comes from the local community, but we also are on a lake and on a river system where communities upstream of us.
Right.
Also.
Yeah, it's it's large impacts, but I mean, any small help in the community can help the lake as well. So hopefully, yeah, like I said, we hopefully get a lot of feedback for the event and have great success this year. So we really appreciate you guys coming out to, help us promote the event as well every year. So we look forward to seeing you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks again.
And I know we'll have the Miss Sally out after the cleanup.
Right.
For folks who want to grab lunch, which is provided, and then
We provide lunch, and you guys provide some fun for after. All right, well, it's going to be really fun this year, so
Looking forward
look forward to seeing you out there. So thank you.